The Death of Amy Robsart by Cyril Hare. Gus Konstantinovich was an Englishman. His passport said as much when he went abroad. His name, indeed, hinted at Russia or Greece. His complexion suggested the Levant. His nose proclaimed Judea. As for his figure, it was as cosmopolitan as the restaurant meals that were responsible for it. But nobody who had seen him standing by the door of the music-room of his house at Ascot, rolling a cigar from one corner of his mouth to the other, or heard the crisp monosyllables in which he took leave of his guests, would have been excused for thinking him American. For this his profession was responsible. As chairman and managing director of Cyclops Films Limited, the organisation which was, in his own words, to beat Hollywood at its own game, he had adopted quite naturally the badges of his tribe. The party in honour of the trade showing of Amy Robsart, the film magnificent, was slowly petering out. Gus, from his station at the door, surveyed his few remaining guests with lacklustre eyes. It was impossible to tell from his expression whether either party or film had proved to his liking. The long room was almost empty, its windows open to the sultry July night. A Strauss waltz was being played on the gramophone, but only one couple still gyrated in the middle of the polished floor. A slim young man in evening clothes and a fair, white-faced girl with tired eyes, who wore Amy Robsart's flowing Tudor dress. In a corner, a lank young woman with a predatory face was sitting talking to a superbly handsome giant of a man. "She's a pretty little thing, isn't she?" she said, indicating the dancer. "Who do you mean? Camilla? Why, Lady Portia, she's lovely." Lady Portia Fanning's mouth gaped in a tigerish smile. "Yes, Mr. Brancaster, I had noticed during the evening that you thought as much. What does your wife think about it?" Teddy Brancaster looked across the room to the bar, where his wife and one or two men were standing. "We can leave Genevieve out of it." "Of course. Besides, she's French. They look at these things differently from you Americans, don't they? Otherwise I should have expected her to look for consolation to that young man with her now. What is his name? Bartram, isn't it?" "Dick Bartram's all right."
"I'm sure he is. But we were talking about Camilla Frayne. Have you seen her, Phil?"
"No, I was on set this morning and this afternoon. I was practising dives in the swimming pool here."
"Has Gus got his own swimming pool?"
"Sure, in the garden. It's a very good one, too."
"How sweet! To Hollywood. But does a champion like you need to practice?"
"Every day, Lady Portia, if I'm not to lose my form."
"How wonderful of you! Well, you didn't miss much. The film, I mean. Your Camilla may be all you think her, but as an actress, she is the world's worst."
"Maybe."
She looked at her watch. "I must go. Can't I give you a lift home, Mr. Brancaster?"
No, thank you. I'm staying here, you know."
"Of course, I forgot. Perhaps I shall see you in London sometime, if Mrs. Brancaster will allow."
She went up to her host.
"Good night, Mr. Konstantinovich. It's been such a delightful party, and I am sure this picture is going to be a great success."
"Good night, Lady Portia. Happy to have you at my house." The waltz came to an end. Camilla's partner bowed his thanks and took his leave. No sooner had he gone than in a flutter of long skirts she was across the room to where Teddy Brancaster was standing.
"Now I'm going to dance with you, Teddy," she said. "Put on another record just for you and me, please."
She looked up at his face like a small girl at the window of a sweet shop. As if by magic, Genevieve, who had been standing contentedly during the dance among the group at the bar, materialized at her husband's side.
"She should not dance any more, Teddy. You see how tired she is."
"Time little girls were in bed, Camilla." His voice, as he turned to her, took on an altogether new quality of warmth and tenderness.
"Oh, what's the use of going to bed when you can't sleep? I haven't slept properly for ages."
She passed the back of her hand across her eyes with a gesture as simple as a child's.
"Not since I started work on this picture."
Gus joined the group. "And the picture's finished now. You'll sleep sound tonight, Camilla. That's what you're in my home for, to sleep sound."
But I want to dance, Gus. Just one more little dance with Teddy.
It's too late for dancing. I guess I'll have a dip in the swimming pool before I turn in.
I too. I will come with you swimming, Teddy.
Sure you will. You'll follow me around anywhere, won't you, Genevieve? Well, let's go, get our bathing things.
I'll come too, Camilla declared. Bathing by moonlight, how lovely.
You are going to bed. Besides, there's no moon tonight, no stars neither. It's as dark as pitch.
But that makes it better still, to dive into the dark when you can see nothing. That's what Amy Robsart did, wasn't it? Just fell in the dark, and it was all over. Oh!
Camilla, Gus spoke sharply. Here, Mrs. Brancaster, take her upstairs to her room. You know where it is, don't you? Next door to yours. And see she doesn't come down again. Genevieve took her by the arm. For a moment it seemed as if she would try to resist, but the Frenchwoman had a grip of iron, and she gave way meekly enough. That's a good girl. Go to bed now. Your Uncle Gus'll come and tuck you up later. They made an odd couple as they moved towards the door. A fragile girl, wilting under the Tudor magnificence, and active, muscular young woman. Teddy Brancaster seemed to feel the contrast as he stared after them. I'll go and change. Among the group at the cocktail bar, Dick Bartram was watching them too. Someone said, "She's very handsome." Another said, "Pity she can't act." Dick turned abruptly. Act? Why, I bet she could, if she ever tried. I like that. Hasn't she been trying hard enough these last 6 months? Dick suddenly blushed painfully. Oh, you meant Camilla. I thought. There was a chorus of laughter, which made his cheeks redder than ever. My poor chap, said the man who had spoken first. Don't waste your young love in that quarter. Genevieve's a one-man's woman. Haven't you noticed that? Pity her husband's not a one-woman's man. Oh, I shouldn't worry. The fair Genevieve can be relied on to protect herself. A stiletto in her garter for any rivals. That's her type. Without a word, Dick left them and walked out of the room. And there goes the best cameraman in England, was the comment from the bar. Well, if Gus goes on turning out tripe like this last opus, he'll soon be out of a job. Will America look at him, do you think? Not a hope. I saw Sonderberg after the show today, and he told me Gus was looking pretty green tonight, I thought. Well, that doesn't prove anything. He always does. It's his British blood boiling in his veins. I hear there's been some trouble down at the studio. They've had a Scotland Yard man in. There, that's nothing. Some bright cashier had been embezzling while the going's good. Where's Gus got to? He was here just now. Counting his losses, I expect. Well, here's luck. Teddy strode in, his magnificent brown body clad only in a pair of bathing trunks, a towel over his arm. Is Genevieve down yet? My dear Apollo, was ever a woman ready when you expected her? Of course not. Teddy went into the hall and called up the stairs. Genevieve! Genevieve! Are you coming? Genevieve appeared on the landing.
I am coming soon, Teddy.
A bedroom door opened just behind her, and Camilla's white face appeared.
Please may I come too? Please, Teddy, just this once.
Teddy smiled and shook his head.
You shall not come.
The door closed. I'm going down now. See you at the pool. So long, everyone. From a chair in an alcove in the hall, Dick Bartram, sick with envy, saw him go. Then he moved to the foot of the staircase. Genevieve, he called softly. Some 20 minutes later, the last guests reluctantly decided that it was time to be going. They had damned Amy Robsart in general, and Camilla's performance in particular, and they had done so down to the last detail. They had cheerfully canvassed the prospects of a similar fiasco for the film which Teddy Brancaster was rehearsing, and they had almost exhausted their host's abundant supplies of drinks. At this point, Gus entered the room again. Gus, old man, it's time I was going. It's been a great party. Glad you enjoyed it, Tom. Good night, Gus. That little Frayne girl is a real find. You'll make a big hit with Amy Robsart, you mark my words. All the boys think the same. Sure, I hope so, Mike, I hope so. Good night, old boy. We overstayed our welcome, I know. Not a bit, Jimmy. Always happy to see you. Hey, you fellows, anybody seen my wife about? Teddy Brancaster came in by the French windows, his skin glistening with water drops, his bare feet leaving damp marks on the parquet floor. "Hello, it's Apollo back again. Didn't she keep her date with you, Teddy?" "No, I've been swimming around the last quarter of an hour. She never came along." "Oh, too bad, Teddy. Quite a new experience for you to be jilted, isn't it? Sorry we can't stay for the end of the drama, but we're just off. Millicent! First up, last out of the door, that's Millicent. Good night." "Good night, you guys." "Well, I guess I'll go and look for her. Hope there's no bloodshed when you find her, anyway." The guests took their noisy departure, and Teddy followed them into the hall and went upstairs. A moment or two later he was down again. Gus was standing in the hall, and Teddy looked at him with troubled eyes. "She isn't in her room, Gus. What's happened to her, do you think?" "I shouldn't worry, Teddy. Maybe she stayed in Camilla's room to help her sleep. I'll go and see if you like. Said she was coming swimming." "I'll go and look all the same." Teddy remained for a moment irresolute as Gus mounted the stairs.
"Were you looking for me, Teddy?"
The voice came from behind him. He spun round as if he'd been shot. Genevieve and Dick Bartram had just emerged from a little sitting room on the further side of the hall.
"I am sorry I did not come with you, Teddy."
But he cut her short. He'd gone deathly pale, and his eyes blazed. You! He seemed incapable of saying more.
"What is the matter, Teddy?"
"What's the matter? Weren't you coming swimming with me? Where have you been? What have you been doing? And who? Oh, my God!"
"So it is like that, is it? So the great Teddy has become jealous all at once, is it not? And all because I did not come the moment I was wanted, Is it so often you want me, then? Have I ever complained to you about your Rosa, your Kitty, and now your Camilla? You know now what it is to feel what I have felt then. That is good."
"You little bitch! You look here, Brancaster," began Bartram. "You're not to speak to your wife in that way. And if you suggest that she and I—"
"Be quiet, Dickie. This is my affair."
"Hold your tongue, both of you!" A fresh voice cut in above the noise of a dispute. Gus's voice urgent with alarm. "Stop that noise, for God's sake! Something is wrong here!" All three were suddenly silent. "Camilla is not in her room, and her window is wide open." It was an appreciable time before anyone spoke again. Gus came slowly down the stairs, his sallow face as expressionless as ever, but his fingers twitching incessantly as they grasped the banister rail, and his feet stumbled uneasily at every step. When he reached the foot of the stairs, it was as if a spell had been broken, and everyone began to talk at once. "Camilla? No, it's not possible."
"Oh, sacre bleu!
"Did you look in her bathroom, Gus?" "Yes, I looked. It's empty. Her clothes are all over the room. The bed had not been slept in." Once more silence fell on the little group, an oppressive silence in which each looked at the others in growing perplexity and fear.
"But what do we wait for? We must search the house, the garden, everywhere."
"The garden? Have you got a torch anywhere, Gus? Come on, quickly, for God's sake!" But it was Teddy who led the blind rush through the garden door behind the staircase to the back of the house. To eyes coming directly from a brilliantly lighted hall, the garden was in utter darkness, and the party halted in momentary uncertainty on the threshold. From the open door behind them a broad shaft of light illuminated a section of the terrace which ran the length of the house, and a little of the lawn beyond. Their shadows wavered against the background of white stone and vivid green. "To the right. That's where her window is, isn't it? Hurry up with that torch, Gus." But before the torch could be found, and while their eyes were still straining to accustom themselves to the dark, Teddy had seen something showing dully white against the surrounding blackness. "There! There!" The others heard the patter of his bare feet as he went towards it, heard the sharp intake of his breath as he reached it. Then Gus's fumbling fingers found the switch of the electric torch, and the whole scene was revealed. Teddy was kneeling beside the body of Camilla Frayne, a pitiful crumpled heap upon the wide stone terrace. Her bare arms and legs gleamed alabaster white, in contrast to the dark blue bathing dress which was her only covering. Her face was so hideously mutilated as to be scarcely recognizable. From a dreadful wound in the head, the blood had soaked through the towel on which it lay, staining the stone a dull red. Teddy was weeping unashamedly. "Camilla, darling, why did you do it?" I loved you. I'd have given my life for you. Oh, Camilla.
Teddy! Teddy, get up! There is nothing you can do.
Teddy rose to his feet. His grief-distorted face disappeared from a circle of light. In the darkness his voice sounded hollow. Sure there's nothing we can do, nothing at all. And now I suppose you're happy. How dare you! Dick cried out in immediate defence of Genevieve. Be silent, all of you! Gus commanded. Have you no reverence? Dick, will you please go and telephone for a doctor and the police? A doctor and a policeman, echoed Teddy bitterly. They'll be mighty useful. Will they give me Camilla back again? Ask them that! Ask them! Teddy, said Gus with an air of authority, you will go indoors. In my study there is brandy. Now you drink some, and do not come out again. Genevieve, you will stay here with me till help comes. It's not good for the dead to be alone. It was a brilliantly fine morning. The sun, flaming out of a cloudless sky, penetrated into the room where Gus lay, sleepless. He rose from his bed and went to the window. The room occupied a wing built onto one end of the house, and from where he stood he could look along the whole length of the terrace. It was a placid, smiling scene, with nothing at first sight to remind him of the events of the night before. Only at one point on the terrace a single flagstone was covered with a rough piece of sacking. Gus averted his eyes from it hastily. The poor broken body of Camilla had been taken away overnight, under the orders of a doctor who had murmured remarks about multiple head injuries and shock, and a police sergeant who had been a miracle of sympathy and calm. About the house in which she had been the guest of honour a few hours before, nothing of her remained, except an ugly red stain, protected from the elements by an old half-sack. As Gus watched, two men came into his view round the further end of the house. One of them was the kindly sergeant of the night before. The other was a tall, broad-shouldered man in grey tweeds, with a fierce military moustache. As they walked round the corner, they appeared to be in deep conversation. "Danish bacon," one in tweeds was saying. "It's all very well, Parkinson, but when I come into the country I don't expect to be given Danish bacon." "I know, sir, but it's like that everywhere nowadays. When I was a boy—" "Oh, here we are, sir." They had arrived at a piece of sacking. The sergeant pulled it away, and together they looked at what lay beneath. Then he replaced it. "You see where it lies, sir?" He demonstrated. "Now, if anyone was to fall or dive from that window above us, this is just where you would expect them to pitch." "So I see, but strictly speaking you could not fall from the window. You would have to get onto the balustrade outside it." "Oh, yes, but that's easy done." "No doubt. You've seen the body, I suppose, sir?" "Yes, I called at the mortuary on the way here." "Well, sir, it certainly looks a simple enough case to me. The young lady, according to all accounts, was in a bad state of nerves. They often are, actresses, you know, and she takes it into her head that she wants to bathe last night, or dive into the dark, as she puts it. She's told she's not to, and put to bed. But then she gets up, sleepwalking like, if you follow me. She pops on her bathing dress and dives out of a window. It seems simple, certainly. Why, sir, it's plumb natural, if you ask me. And I'll tell you another thing. This girl has been acting a part called Amy Robsart. Now, Amy Robsart, so far as I can make out, she's killed much the same way. Only it wasn't a window she fell out of. It was— I know, I've read the book." "Oh, it isn't a book, sir, it's a film." "But I dare say it's much the same thing. What I'm getting at is, with her in a bad state of nerves and all, she'd be quite likely not to know whether she was herself or whether she was Amy Robsart, and behave accordingly, if you follow me." "Amy Robsart didn't wear a bathing dress, did she?" "No, sir, that's true, she didn't. But I reckon the young lady got into a proper muddle about things and forgot that." "Very likely." A door in the house opened, and Teddy Brancaster, dressed, or rather undressed, for swimming, came out onto the terrace. He stopped when he saw the two men. "Good morning," said Sergeant Parkinson. "You're up early." I'm always out for a dip before breakfast, when your English climate allows it.
Teddy looked hard at the man in tweeds.
Haven't I seen you before? This is Inspector Mallet of Scotland Yard. He's been doing some investigations at the Cyclops Studios. He was good enough to come along here this morning and help us.
Oh, well, I'm pleased to meet you. If you gentlemen will excuse me, I'll be going.
Perhaps you would give me a moment or two later when you've had your breakfast. Surely.
The giant strode away across the lawn. He struck a narrow stone path, and following it, he disappeared from view. A moment later, the detectives heard the thud of a springboard, followed by a splash.
A fine figure of a man, that. It's easy to see he keeps himself in good condition. Makes men like us look quite flabby, doesn't it, sir? At all events, I haven't got black circles under my eyes at this time of day. Well, sir, I suppose we must make allowances for that. I don't expect he had much sleep last night. He was in a terrible state when I came in, crying and howling fit to burst himself, he was. Really? Suppose we go indoors now.
They passed into the house. A scared housemaid fled at their approach.
That reminds me, what about the servants last night? Did they hear anything? Well, they'd all gone to bed. They sleep in a wing on the other side of the house. The guests at the party were looking after themselves. It was what they calls a bohemian party, I'm told, meaning they can all drink as much as they like without any servants to tell tales on them. I see.
Which way do we go? The sergeant led the way upstairs. He stopped before a door on the first-floor landing and unlocked it with a key which he took from his pocket.
This is her room, sir. Nothing has been touched.
It was a room of medium size, lit by one large sash window, giving onto the garden. The bed was made, but had not been slept in. On it, and on the armchair at its foot, was distributed Camilla's finery of the night before, the heavy embroidered Elizabethan gown, and the stomacher stiffened with whalebone, contrasting strongly with the gossamer silk underwear of the 20th century. The built-in wardrobe hung open. On the dressing-table a pearl necklace and some rings lay scattered. From an open powder bowl a faint scent permeated the room. To the right an open door led into the bathroom. Here, in contrast to the disorder of the bedroom, all was neatly arranged. The towels were folded, the sponges, hard and dry, in orderly array, and the bath mat neatly centred, showing no sign of having been disturbed since the servant had laid it down. The window, a small one, was closed. Mallet took everything in with a few glances. Then, returning from the bathroom to the bedroom, he went to the window. It was open at the bottom, and, leaning through, he looked out for a few moments. Outside the window was a balustrade, some 2 feet high, which ran the entire length of the house. Between this and the window was a small space, just sufficient for a man to stand in. His survey completed, Mallet withdrew his head.
"Have you looked out of here?" "No, sir. It was dark when I was here last night, of course." "We'll have a look now." "Did you notice anything?" "I did, sir." "Yes?" "Well, the place where the body was found is not under this window, sir. It's farther along to the right."
"And what does that convey to you?"
"Why, sir, it looks as if the young lady had walked along the balustrade that way before she fell off. And why should she? Isn't that the kind of thing a sleepwalker would do, sir? Walk along a dangerous place until she lost her footing? I am sure I've heard of that sort of thing happening more than once. Sleepwalking. Where did she sleep, Sergeant?"
Parkinson looked at the bed and flushed a little.
"Ah. Oh, she fell asleep in the chair, very likely. On top of her undies?"
"Well, that's always possible, though one would expect them to be more crumpled.
But there is one thing you haven't accounted for." "Indeed, sir?" "If she went sleepwalking, as you suggest, why was her head wrapped in a towel when she was found?" "Good Lord, sir, why didn't I think of that at once? Of course that explains it. It wasn't sleepwalking. It was plain suicide."
"Suicide, Sergeant? I'm not sure I follow you now."
"Why, sir, don't you see the psychology of the thing?" "The what?" "The psychology, sir."
"Oh, no, I'm not sure that I do."
"Well, it's quite plain to me. A young lady wants to kill herself. She makes up her mind to throw herself out of a window, and then, when it comes to the point, she finds she hasn't the nerve. So what does she do? She blindfolds herself with a towel, so that she can't see what's coming to her, if you follow me. I do, Sergeant, I do. And she just walks along the ledge till she falls off, taking herself by surprise, in a manner of speaking. Am I right? You may be, Sergeant. By the way, which window was it that she was found under? Mr. and Mrs. Brancaster's bedroom, sir. That's next door to this, with just the bathroom in between. Well, there doesn't appear to be anything further that we can do up here. We had better go downstairs now and see what the people in the house can tell us. In the dining room, the detectives found Teddy Brancaster finishing his breakfast. He had changed into a grey flannel suit, which set off his magnificent proportions to advantage. You're all alone, I see. As you see. Is Mrs. Brancaster breakfasting in bed? I haven't seen her this morning. How is that? Well, if it interests you, I slept in my dressing room last night, if you can call it sleeping. When were you last in her bedroom? Why, I guess it must have been before dinner last night. Why? You didn't go up there to look for her when you came in from bathing? Oh, yes, I did do that, I forgot, but she wasn't there. Can you tell me whether the window was open or shut when you went in? Shut? You're sure? Oh, positive? Do you know that it was under that window that Miss Vrain's body was found? Is that so? Oh, no, I didn't know that. It occurred to me that she might perhaps have fallen from that window last night. But if you are right in your recollection that the window was shut, it doesn't seem possible, does it? It certainly does not. And you will still say the window was shut? I do, sir. When you went up to change last night, you didn't notice or hear anything suspicious? I did not go up to change last night. Gus lets me use the cloakroom down here as a changing room. It is more convenient for the pool, as I am in and out all day. Thank you. That may be important. Now I must ask you about another thing altogether. Was there something of a quarrel between you and your wife last night? Teddy's face darkened. There was? Things were not altogether happy between the two of you. Well, you've heard of film stars' marriages not turning out well, I'm sure. Film stars' marriages don't often last as long as yours, Mr. Brancaster. 6 years now, isn't it? Oh, you seem to know a lot about me, Inspector. Are you a fan? You must remember that I have been carrying out a fairly thorough investigation of the studios, and I have found it necessary to examine the lives of pretty well everyone connected with it. You British are certainly thorough. We try to be. And your American police are not very far behind when we ask them for assistance. I find that since your marriage, your name has been connected, shall we say. Oh, connected, that will do very well. With a number of women. There was Rosa Layton, for example. She was killed in an accident, wasn't she, Mr. Brancaster? She was drowned in a boating accident, yes. Then there was Kitty Cardew. Sure, poor Kitty. She died from an overdose of Veronal. Was your wife jealous of these women? Of them and others, yes. Was she jealous of Miss Vrain? She most certainly was. Has it never occurred to you, sir, that there might be some connection between these various accidents? Teddy Brancaster sat silent for a moment, staring at his plate. Then he said between clenched teeth, Never. Until now. Dick Bartram came into the room. Teddy gave him a curt good morning and rose to his feet. I must be getting along to the set. If you gentlemen want me again, you know where to find me. Bartram, meanwhile, had sat down at the table and was attacking a grapefruit with a gloomy air. He paid no attention to the other two men until Mallet addressed him. You know who I am, I think. Certainly. You're the Scotland Yard man, aren't you? How is your work at the studios going? That isn't what I'm here for today. No? I am looking into the circumstances of the death of Camilla Vrain. Really? You think there may be something to look into, then? As you put it? Every case of sudden death has to be investigated, naturally. But you think that this case is something that needs special investigation?
I think it possible.
Then I shall give you all the assistance in my power, of course.
That is, if you don't mind my going on with my breakfast while I do it.
Please do. Your coffee smells remarkably good, if I may say so. Gus has it specially imported from Costa Rica. Would you care for a cup?
Well, if you press me.
Thank you.
Yes, that is certainly excellent coffee. Costa Rica, you say? I shall make a note of it.
Would you care for some, Sergeant?
Oh, I thank you, no, sir. I drink tea myself. From Lipton's.
Now, sir, said Mallet, putting down his cup with an air of satisfaction, I just want to put a few questions to you about your movements last night.
They were very restricted movements, Inspector.
After Miss Frayne had gone upstairs, what did you do?
I stayed at the bar in the music room for a short time, and I went into the hall.
Yes?
I remained there till Brancaster had gone out to the swimming pool.
While you were in the hall, did you hear Mr. Brancaster speak to his wife?
Yes, and I heard her speak to him, and to Miss Frayne.
You heard Miss Frayne's voice, too?
Yes.
No doubt about it?
None at all. I have had the job of photographing Miss Frayne every day for the last 2 or 3 months. I'm not likely to be mistaken about her face or her voice or her scent or anything that is hers.
Quite.
Then what did you do?
Well, as soon as Brancaster was out of the house, I called upstairs to Genevieve. She came down immediately. I took her into the smoking room next door to the hall, and there we stayed till Brancaster came back.
You did not leave the room during that time?
No.
From where you were, could you have heard anybody going up or down the stairs?
I think not. We heard Teddy's voice when he came in, but he was talking pretty loud.
What were you and Mrs. Brancaster doing in the smoking room?
I was trying to persuade Genevieve to come away with me.
See. Did you succeed?
No. Nothing I could say would induce her to leave that hulking brute of a husband. I don't know what women can be made of. He's treated her disgracefully. He's neglected her for a simpering little doll who thinks she's an actress because she's got a pretty face. Sorry. I forgot. She's dead. I shouldn't have spoken of her that way. I dare say she didn't know what she was doing. She was very young, infatuated with him. But she was breaking the heart of a woman worth 10 of her. I couldn't forgive her.
It comes to this then, Mr. Bartram. You and Mrs. Brancaster were alone together from the time that Miss Frayne, so far as we know, was last seen alive, to the time when she was found to be missing.
Yes.
And there is nobody, apart from Mrs. Brancaster, who can verify... Oh, good morning.
Gus's sallow face had appeared in the doorway.
Good morning. You wished to see me, Inspector. If you please. But it will keep until after you've breakfasted. I do not breakfast. Once, perhaps, but for many years, no breakfast. You have my sympathy. In that case, come this way, please.
The 2 men followed him into his study, a tiny room almost entirely filled by an enormous Louis XV desk, littered with papers. Gus sat down before it and sighed heavily.
And what have you to tell me, Inspector?
The position is serious.
The defalcations are on an even larger scale than was thought at first.
They have been cleverly made, and very cleverly concealed.
It's that fellow Sneed, I suppose.
It would appear so.
Well, we'll have to prosecute, of course.
Now, what good it'll do us?
This is most unfortunate, Inspector, especially coming at this time. It puts the Cyclops set in a very difficult position. I say it within these 4 walls, but the position is difficult.
Your organization suffered a loss of a different kind last night.
Poor Camilla. Yes, an artist. One whom the British film industry could ill afford to lose.
Did your company insure her life?
Well, certainly we did. We insure all our stars while they are under contract to us.
What was Miss Frayne's contract?
3 years, 300 a week. Well, she was only just beginning, you know.
And the insurance?
£20,000.
Her death was not entirely a loss from the point of view of your company.
Yes, one must look on the bright side, I suppose, even in the greatest tragedy.
What were you doing last night, between the time when Miss Vrain went to bed and the time when you went to her room and found it empty?
After she'd gone to bed, well, I stayed a little in the music room and looked at my guests, those who remained. They all seemed to be enjoying themselves without me, so I left them and came in here. I remained here until just before Mr. Brancaster came back from his swim. There were some figures and reports I wanted to look at.
Figures and reports relating to Amy Robsart?
Yeah, my secretary left them during the evening.
They were not very satisfactory, were they?
Well, the preliminary bookings were disappointing, but
Miss Vrain's tragic death will, however, give the film some assistance, I suppose.
Well, we shall have some very useful publicity from it, I have no doubt.
Thank you, Mr. Konstantinovich. I think that's all I need to know.
Well, you certainly do know how to make them talk, sir. Now, I suppose it's Mrs. Brancaster's turn to be put through it,
Mrs. Brancaster? No, I hardly need trouble her yet.
I think I shall go for a walk in the garden. I've hardly seen it so far.
The garden, sir?
Oh, well, yes, just so, the garden.
Can I assist you in any way?
I don't think I need trouble you. I am sure you have plenty to do elsewhere.
Well, since you mention it, sir, I have. Good day, sir.
The sergeant left the house, and Mallet stepped out alone into the sunshine. The garden was not a horticulturist's paradise. Its principal attraction was the well-kept lawn, which stretched broad and green for some 80 yards from the terrace. This was flanked on either side by some tasteless beds of antirrhinums and fuchsias, and at the further end by leaden statuettes, intended to give an oldie-worldy atmosphere, and succeeding only too well. Beyond it to the right, a rustic sundial formed the focal point of an unenthusiastic rose garden, which was separated from the lawn by the path which led to the swimming pool. This path Mallet followed. It took him to the little shrubbery behind which he had seen Teddy Brancaster disappear that morning. Here it sloped steeply downwards, serpentined aimlessly left and right, and ended abruptly at the edge of the pool. The pool was not large, some 50 feet long by 20 broad, its length running in the same direction as the path. But it was well equipped, with a high diving board, water climb and springboard, all at the deep end of the pool where Mallet now found himself. He stopped, one foot on the springboard, and gazed meditatively, through which the pattern of the blue and white tiled bottom wavered and sparkled. Lifting his eyes, he saw at the other end of the pool another man, apparently similarly engaged. From his clothes it would be guessed that he was a gardener, and from his expression that he did not care much for his job. Mallet walked over.
"Good morning."
The man acknowledged his presence by a stare and a sniff.
"This is a pretty place you've got here."
Well, so it ought to be, with all the money it cost.
Expensive, was it?
Cost a packet to make, and costs a packet to run. Money's no object. But can I get a bit of money for my houses? Can I get so much as a bundle of pea sticks, without there's a God Almighty row? No, I can't. Always the same thing. Jenkins, I can't afford it. Jenkins, the garden costs too much money. But his lordship's lovely swimming bath now, oh, that's quite another pair of shoes.
He spat disgustedly into the water. Mallet's face must have shown what he felt, for he added,
"Oh, you needn't worry, I'm going to clean her out now."
It didn't look as though it needed it.
Needed it? Course doesn't need it. That makes no difference. Twice a week it has to be done, while his mightiness is in residence. That's nice work for an Englishman, ain't it, eh? Swilling out a bath for a pack of foreign-born film actors. Company's water, mind you. Waste of money, waste of time, I call it. How long does it take you? 2 hours to empty, 4 hours to fill, and then there's the time spent in the scrubbing of it.
How is it emptied?
I'll show you. It's just over where you're standing. See? Now, there's a cock here. You turn it that way, and she starts to empty. And then, when you want to fill her, you turn it that way. That's all.
Thank you very much. I wonder if you could do something for me. Perhaps I'd better tell you who I am."
Mallet continued to talk to the man for a full quarter of an hour, then left him gloomily regarding the receding waters with the evident intention of doing no further work until the pool was empty. On returning to the house, Mallet went straight to the little study. Gus was busy on the telephone. As he put down the receiver and turned to the inspector, he displayed a countenance decidedly more cheerful than it had been an hour previously.
"You were right, Inspector. The publicity value of this business, this sad tragedy, I should say, is going to be very great. Greater than I had imagined. And I think I know something about publicity. Already I've given 3 interviews by telephone to press representatives. Now I think the trade is going to begin to find out there's more to Amy Robsart than they bargained for. Was I not right when I said that one must always look on the bright side?
You were.
Now, Mr. Konstantinovich, there is only one more thing I should like you to do for me. I am going now, and I shall not return until this evening, but could you arrange for all the people who slept in the house last night to be here then?"
"That can be done, Inspector."
"What time will you wish to see them?" "I shall be here at 10 o'clock.
"Very good. Hello, yes, Mr. Konstantinovich speaking."
"Certainly I will give a message to your morning readers."
Morning readers? Of course. Certainly I will give a message to your morning readers. Yes, the tragic death of a glamorous young star at the very moment of attaining the pinnacle of fame in a performance which experts acclaim as...
Mallet left Gus to the telephone and made his way to the police station. Sergeant Parkinson greeted him eagerly.
"Can I help you anyway, sir?"
"Yes. You can tell me where the offices of the local water company are."
"Oh, I'll take you round there myself. I meant, well, what I was hoping, sir, was... I thought there might be something you wanted done, if you follow me."
"I'm afraid not, at present at any rate.
But I should like you to meet me outside Mr. Konstantinovich's house at 10 o'clock this evening. Perhaps there will be something to be done then."
Mallet could vouchsafe no more, and he parted from Parkinson at the offices of the water company. Here he interviewed an intelligent young engineer, who, from being bored and suspicious, became, as the interview went on, more and more interested, and finally very busy indeed. It was an uneasy party that awaited Mallet's visit in the music-room that evening. After a dinner that had been eaten for the most part in silence, Gus, who was by a good deal the most self-possessed of the 4, proposed a game of poker. He was a good player at all times, and on this occasion the others were no match for him at all. Genevieve seemed listless and preoccupied, Dick was nervous, Teddy out of temper with his cards, his companions, and himself. It was a positive relief to all of them, except Gus, who had pocketed a good deal of his guests' money, when on the stroke of 10 Inspector Mallet was announced.
"I think you know everyone here, except Mrs. Brancaster."
Mallet bowed to her. She inclined her head languidly, and then looked away. Mallet stood in the middle of the room and cleared his throat.
"As you all know, I'm inquiring into the circumstances of the death of Miss Camilla Frayne. There will have to be an inquest, of course, and you, who were the only persons in or about the place at the time, will all be essential witnesses. There are reasons, which I cannot go into now, why it is important that I should know exactly what were the movements of each of you between the time when Miss Frayne left this room and the moment when she was found outside the house."
"Well, we've told you that already," Dick objected.
"I agree. But at the same time there are some points which I would like cleared up, and I think they can best be cleared up by your helping me, so far as possible, to reconstruct the events of last night. In so far as you were respectively concerned in them, of course. I want everyone to go through the same actions in the same order and in the same place as they did last night. Is that agreed?"
There was a murmur of assent.
"Very good, then. We start from the moment when Mr. Konstantinovich asked Mrs. Brancaster to take Miss Frayne to bed. Now, where were you standing?"
"Here,"
said Gus. "Very good. Mrs. Brancaster, will you go and stand there too? Thank you. Were you with them, Mr. Brancaster?" Then stand with them also. Where were you, Mr. Bartram? By the bar at the end of the room. Then would you go there now, please? And Mrs. Brancaster, what did you do?
I left the room with Camilla. So.
Did you follow Mr. Brancaster? Not at once. Mallet followed Genevieve to the door. She walked up the stairs and stopped at the door of Camilla's room.
I went in a moment or two to talk to her.
Would you go in there then, please? Said Mallet from the hall.
Go in? Oh, no, I will not. I will not. It is not good in there.
Mallet shrugged his shoulders. Very well. Then stand at the door till it is time to come out. Now, Mr. Brancaster. Teddy came out of the music room. This was where I went to the cloakroom and got into my bathing kit. Then go there now. You want me to change my clothes? Certainly. I want to see how long it takes you. Will any old bathing trunks do, or must it be the same ones? That is of no importance. Who moves next?
I suppose it's me, said Dick, moving accordingly. I came out of the room just after Brancaster and sat in the hall here.
From above, Genevieve's voice was heard.
I leave this room now and go to my own.
Very good, Mrs. Brancaster. Gus walked across the hall. Well, I'm going to my study to look at papers. A pause ensued, during which nobody moved. Mallet ran quickly up the stairs and surveyed the hall from the landing, then came down again. Then Teddy came in, wearing his bathing trunks. Here I am, Sherlock. Where do I go from here? Wherever you went last night. Teddy took a few steps into the music room and back again. I'm looking for my wife.
He calls me, and I come out here. Then Camilla opens the door, and I shut her back. So.
And I go for my swim, said Teddy, walking into the music room again. Stay there a moment, Mr. Brancaster. What do you do, Mr. Bartram? I call for Mrs. Brancaster. Without going upstairs? Yes. Then come down, Mrs. Brancaster. Genevieve came down.
Now we go to the smoking room.
Mallet saw them go, and went into the music room where Teddy was waiting. What next? Which way did you go? Well, through the French windows. Then please do so. I shall come with you. Mallet walked with him out into the garden. The moon was up, and they could see their surroundings clearly. It was pitch black last night, of course. But you knew your way well enough. Sure, just follow the path. It runs straight down here. Well, let's follow it then. Teddy shrugged his shoulders, and they walked on together. When they reached the clump of bushes, he stopped. That's all there is to it. I just run down here and dive in. Well, run, then. They reached the edge of a pool together. Dive in. Yeah, what's the great idea? Before them, in the moonlight, the pool gleamed bare, polished, empty. Did you dive in last night? Or did somebody else? Somebody who didn't know and who couldn't see that she was diving into an empty pool. From the shadows behind them, Sergeant Parkinson silently approached and stood at Brancaster's shoulder. You knew that it was empty, Mr. Brancaster, because you emptied it yourself. You arranged for your wife to come here last night, so that she might kill herself in the dark. You waited here and saw her, as you thought, plunge to her death down there. You climbed down into the pool, wrapped her head in your towel, so that the blood drops might not betray you, and carried the body back to beneath your wife's window, turning on the water to fill the pool again before you left. Then you went into the house and began asking where your wife was. It wasn't until you found her that you knew the truth, that it was not your wife, but Camilla Frayne who had followed you, that you had killed the woman for whose sake you wanted to murder your wife. Is that not true? Teddy was shuddering convulsively, and his breath came in quick gasps. Sure, it's true. It's true, yeah. I killed her. The only girl I ever loved, and I killed her. Well, there you go. Leave me alone!"
As Mallet's hand closed upon his shoulder, he swung round, drove him off with a tremendous blow in the face, knocked Parkinson fairly over, and made a rush for the springboard. He leapt in the air, came down with all his weight upon its end, and soared into the sky. In the moonlight, his brown body gleamed for an instant, as it turned in a perfect jackknife dive, to crash head first on the tiled floor below. You have been listening to The Death of Amy Robsart by Cyril Hare, read by Matthew Jones. It was an audio production exclusively for MJam from London.